All right. Hey, everybody. How's it going today? Yeah. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some theories from your textbook. And a lot of people are afraid of theory, but theory can be kind of fun and it's very practical. There's nothing more practical than a good theory. And I think the reason people are afraid of theories sometimes is because they feel like they have no practical application, but they can be applied to real situations. And that makes them, once they're applied to real situations, it makes them more relevant. So let's talk a little bit about some of the theories that are discussed in your textbook. So the first theory that I wanted to go over is called the symbolic convergence theory. The symbolic convergence theory. And basically this symbolic convergence theory is talking about how group members can have a shared vision, and it can be something that maybe the outside world can't see, but they can all share that vision, and then they can make it a reality. So one idea here is that it was written by Borman, the symbolic convergence theory, and he believed that groups take on a kind of shared personality. The group takes on a life of its own. So there's sort of this synergy here where the group is more than the sum of its parts, and it takes on sort of its own world and its own shared personality, and it can take on its life of its own. So it's its own this special, unique, separate thing. And it's not just a collection of individuals, but it's when they all come together, they become something bigger. And they share a fantasy, usually. Now, a lot of times people use the word fantasy to refer to a sexual fantasy, but that's not what we're actually talking about here. It's fantasy in this case is the creative and shared interpretation of events that fulfills a group's need to make sense of an experience and anticipate its future. So sometimes there's like this, things are open to interpretation when they happen. And what ends up happening here is we have a situation where the group's interpretation is their own interpretation that you almost have to be in the group to really see it. And then later the rest of the world will understand, especially during the early stages of the group when maybe people don't necessarily believe in that group. Take the Giants, they were not seen as a winning team, but they became a winning team because they were able to share that point of view. And one of the key players that did that was Hunter Pence. And they sort of help each other to see each other's and, bringing each other's minds together. Borman said there's two levels of reality. There's what actually happens, and then our interpretations and beliefs about what happens. So an example of this would be sort of like if you were to look at a band. Let's say hypothetically that you're in a small band. They're an up and coming like rock band, not really very famous, not really making it per se yet. So maybe you have a concert and it's lightly attended, meaning not many people come. It's in a small bar, not many people come. So that's what happened. You had a concert. There weren't very many people there. You could say the number, there were 20 guests or whatever. But our interpretation might be a little different. Might be that, okay, well, we played really well. The people that were there really liked the show, but the way we publicized it didn't work. So the interpretation is really important. Like on the surface, it's like maybe the concert was a dud. But once you dig a little bit deeper, it's like, well, we played really well. The people that were there really liked our songs. Maybe even broadcast it on the internet and people liked it there. Yeah, there weren't very many people there. That could be interpreted as a negative, but maybe it's just that we had a publicity problem and we can fix that. So, a lot of that happens with a lot of groups. Nobody believes in them until they're actually successful. And the example I sometimes think of is like, if you know the band Fall Out Boy, which is kind of considered to be an emo group. At the time, nobody really believed in them. Emo wasn't big, but they believed in themselves, and they interpreted their lack of popularity as an up and coming thing, where the audience would eventually be ready for them. And the same thing with NWA. If you look at the movie Straight Outta Compton, it definitely kind of goes over that as well. That kind of reality rap, which is they were creating at the time, which some people call gangster rap, but they call reality rap. It wasn't popular, but they created that. So that's that level of reality that we're talking about. Let's talk about another theory that's out there. The other theory is known as structuration. And structuration theory actually was created by Anthony Giddens, and then Dave Siebold popularized it in the communication field, along with a few others. Basically, it's a very simple theory, but very important, and that is basically saying that the world is the way it is because we keep perpetuating it or keeping it going in that particular way when it comes to communication. So, for example, if you have a group where, when there's a conflict, the norm is to slam the door, that thing of slamming the door when you have a conflict is only going to continue as long as people keep slamming doors. There's nothing physically forcing you to slam a door as a way to show frustration. Or if groups, if you have a group where everybody's always makes an effort to be on time, that value of being on time and people actually being on time, value it because it's something that isn't inherent. You have to work at it. And the group has to, it only keeps going as long as people keep doing it. Or things that in our vocabulary, like, for example, there's a word that we've eradicated from our vocabulary, Oriental, to refer to people. We got rid of it. It wasn't working for us, so we stopped using that term to refer to people. So that's the idea of structuration, is that the norms that exist in our society only continue on as long as we keep them going. We're the ones that keep doing this thing, and we can change the way we communicate. And we can form structures, and we can also break them down. That's the idea of that theory. Next up, we have systems theory. Systems theory is basically talking about how everything is interconnected, like the butterfly effect. I remember when I was a little kid, I used to have a mobile above my bed, and it had like a giraffe and a sheep and a rhinoceros and a lion. And if I touched one animal, it would affect all the other animals. And that's the idea, is everybody else affects everybody. So if you're in a good mood, that can affect your group and help everybody be in a good mood. If someone's very pessimistic or toxic, that can affect the group. And everything is kind of interrelated. So it's all connected. So if you have one group member that's being really super reliable and working hard, that can make everybody be motivated to work hard. If you have one group member that's being flaky, that can negatively affect everybody as well. It doesn't have to, but it can. So just knowing that we're all part of the system and we're all interconnected and affected by each other. And so those are our theories. So yeah, there's more theories in the textbook for sure, but those are the ones I just wanted to go over with you guys and kind of share and talk about. So yeah, hope you enjoy it. Check it out in the book. And then if you have questions, of course, email me as always, but you can read about theories. I think there's a whole chapter on theories in the textbook that you could enjoy. But those are some of the ones I thought were pretty cool and I wanted to share with you guys. So have an awesome day. Thanks.